Well, hey there, stranger. What's going on, man? Life is pretty decent on my end. I gotta say, I've missed a ton of streams, obviously. Haven't been able to do that too much, but it's more that's more of a just timing issue rather than me just getting my ass beat as it has been for the last year and a half. Yeah, I've just been on I've been on call for a lot of streams, had plans with, friends who were in town and stuff like that. So the last couple weeks have been sort of in and out. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you? How's life? I know you're sort of in the perpetual job restart cycle, but hopefully everything's going smoothly there. I'm glad to see you stuck around. One of these, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. My daughter is actually sleeping. I'm on vacation this week, and she's slept until at least like 6:45 every day, which is fucking unbelievable. Like absolutely unbelievable. By comparison to what it has been in the past. That's really nice. So life gets a lot better when you don't necessarily have to sacrifice sleep to do the things that you like doing. It's like, I get up at 5:30 every day for my job, which is fine, but to never ever have a break from that was killing me. It made it really difficult to bring any sort of energy to this stream. Even though it's something I really enjoy, and I don't set out to necessarily attract people here, or obviously I'm not making any money from this or anything, but hey team Matt, what's up? Team Matt, the other Matt is not here though, so you guys aren't really a team. Maybe you just carry the team. But yeah, still I want to kind of enjoy what I'm doing instead of just getting through it. And really, that just means I couldn't even play the game and keep my eyes open. So I'm like, ah, shit, I should really be going to sleep right now. You have multiple personality disorder? Perfect. Well, then you're all set. You're all good. All of them are named Matt. Negotiating working more hours? Oh, cool. Okay. So obviously both parties are happy with that situation. Infused is good. It starts slow. So the nice thing about this business is that it creates recurring customers very easily. Between the people who want Botox and the people who want the weight loss drugs, the weekly injection weight loss drugs, GLP-1 agonists. So once you get somebody hooked, you pretty much got them. So it starts up very slow and then snowballs. And we've got lots of leads on both of those things. We've kind of made some connections with CrossFit gyms, they are solid gold, because it's basically lots of people who are willing to spend a lot of money on their fitness and have the money to do it. So going well. We picked up another nurse who is somebody, oddly enough, that I went to elementary school with, and that the other people doing this with me know from the hospital that they worked at previous to the one that we're at now. So she's apparently really good as a nurse. She's a super cool person. I grew up with her, basically. But yeah, I guess she's a really good nurse too. So she's on board. Growing steadily. And yeah, can't complain. Not too bad for, 2 months in? Something like that. Is it even 2 months in? 1 month in, 1.5. So, yeah, I think we've kind of got our groundwork laid. We've sort of figured out what we're gonna pay everybody. They seem fairly happy with that, and because we're this whole thing, we're just flying by the seat of our pants. Because when I ran it the first time around, it was just me, So any money I made was mine, and I didn't have to worry about paying anybody. And there were a couple times where we hired some nurses that I worked with, and I just shot them a number beforehand. I was like, hey, how about $200 to sit at this event with me for 7 hours or whatever. And, because, we're, this whole thing, we're just flying by the seat of our pants. Because when I ran it the first time around, it was just me, So But now it's more of like a regular thing. They're almost like part-time employees, even though, you know, realistically they're putting in like 4 hours a week or something at most, if even that. But yeah, at least we're running it, we're making it kind of like a real company. There's lots of particulars to be done as far as the administration goes, but like right now we're kind of just doing like a gentleman's agreement thing and like, you know, paying off our costs. Hopefully we pay off our costs by the end of the year, and then just splitting up whatever money is left over. But, you know, this is sort of like a trial year, so if it's, you know, if we crash and burn, then oh well, you know, so we burn some cash. But if not, then we'll maybe have to get a little bit more serious about how to pay people and, you know, do everything in a more official and legally binding way. I always like looking at the prices of these. This is ridiculous. This helmet, like a level 35 decay, like previously would cost no more than like 5 divines. I don't know why it's so expensive this league, but anyway, time for me to stop obsessing over that and get something that I actually need for this build. This is a really weird build, by the way. Storm Shroud? Oh, can't spell. Well, yeah, how are you guys doing? Life is good? I hope life is good. What the fuck? Okay, well that's a price fixer, but I'll whisper him anyway. Worth a shot. 10 lightning resistance. Oh well, whatever. What is that? That's 1. I have no idea what a divine's worth these days. We'll just give him 52. I think my mouse is... yeah, my mouse is kind of fucking up. Have any idea when it'll eclipse the anesthesia pay? Oh shit. That would be remarkable. Probably never. And even if it did, like, so the nice thing about this is, what are you doing, dude? I canceled that trade like 3 times. Alright, off we go. How many hands are in the cookie jar alongside you? Well, I mean, that's part of it. But, it won't really matter because it'll be automated. It'll, like, once it gets big enough to make that much money, you know, assuming that ever happens, which it won't, but, if I were to ever, you know, get a substantial slice of my overall income from this business, it will be big enough to have multiple nurses running it, and I will basically just kind of rubber stamp things that happen and, like, do, you know, maybe some business meetings and, like, loop in clients and things like that from behind the scenes. So my my involvement will be minimal, and it'll be kind of semi-passive income. So I will still be able to make my, like, normal salary, work my normal job, because I can't imagine there ever being a scenario where this business would be worth the, you know, $600,000 and plus benefit, or yeah, including benefits and stuff that I get for my job to, like, leave my job for. So yeah. Leaving for your away on Friday? Oh, cool. That's fun. I assume it's an anesthesia away. This is kind of a nice song. Harris Heller stepped his game up, man. Nice, soothing elevator music. I'll take it. So let's see, how many, let's see, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Okay. 5 points before I can use that jewel. Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, Cleveland blows ass, but whatever. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, there's the nurses that we have working with us are like real go-getters, and they're super into this, like, scene, you know, or like this way of making money. So I think that like the ones that we have now are like definitely like motivated to be like leadership potential, and so we could give them equity to just like handle shit, and we're the physicians and put our name on stuff. So that would be amazing. Yeah, it'd be, I mean, we don't have any extra income yet, but I mean, like, the profit margin in this business is so freaking gigantic that it's, we're about, oh no. Are we gonna do this tonight? Are we gonna do this? Okay. Yeah, we're about an 1/8 of a way there. So, like, I think our upfront cost was 10,000-ish, which is basically all insurance. And we've got, like, we've got all of our costs, like, our supply costs covered, and I think we have, like, 1,300 in the bank or something. So, you know, small potatoes right at the moment, but considering that we just started, I wouldn't say that that's too bad. And, I mean, the profit margin on some of these things is, like a B12 shot, so we're the cheapest B12 shot in town at 20 bucks. And if you buy B12 in like larger vials, like 30 ml vials, it's like 35 cents per shot. So it's like, we're talking like 95% profit. It's just fucking crazy. Well, I guess that's not true because you have to pay for the syringe and the needle, which are like, you know, also extremely cheap. But you know, okay, so 85% profit. Yeah, I don't think it will ever get me rich, but I think it'll be, you know, if we keep doing it and like keep pushing it, I bet you it'll be worth you know, 5 figures a year to us without really breaking much of a sweat. Don't want to live there, small clinic in Cleveland. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's residency, dude. Like, you make some good connections there, get in, get your training. I mean, you'll see some crazy ass shit at Cleveland Clinic, that's for sure. So you'll be trained well if you go there. But, you know, go wherever you want afterwards. But yeah, I don't anticipate getting rich. I don't really anticipate making any money the first year. And that was an expectation that I made perfectly clear before we even started. So we'll just kind of have to, you know, see where we are. It's a lightning and shock resistant. Fuck that. We'll have to see where we are as far as like recurring customers go, because like I said, that's really the bread and butter of this business, is people who are going to give you, you know, hundreds of dollars every month, like round the clock. Getting rich was the goal. Well, sure, getting rich is always the goal. Getting rich is absolutely the goal, but you know, whether or not that's an achievable goal with the resources that we have available to push, I don't know. Like, so sort of the, like, agreement with my wife for my involvement was, you know, I'm not gonna put in any money of my own up front, and, like, also not gonna put any, like, free time in, you know, like, and we made an exception because there was like a girl that I grew up with and like recently reconnected with, who had a group event at her house, like had a party at her house basically. So I went there for that because I figured it'd be kind of weird to not, you know, like she's all like doing this for me basically, and I was like, you know, our nurse will be there, it'll be cool. But other than that, yeah, like we've had a couple like pop-up events, I guess, or like sponsorship deals, I don't know, with like local, one was with a winery and one's with like an all women's gym, and like I had nothing to do with those basically. I talked to the owner and was like, you know, sort of arranged the terms of us being there, and that's it, you know. So still got that duck, you know, absolutely. Yeah, we're having to work very efficiently just because of, and like one of my partners has triplet boys who are 4. I think they just turned 4, so like he's not exactly, you know, dripping with free time either. But yeah, like I said, the nurses that we're working with are like all freaking over it. Like we have our, you know, like group chat session, and they're just like constantly saying, hey, like, you know, brainstorming and like, hey, I did these injections, and hey, I talked to this guy or this person at work, and they know this person who has a gym, or this person who, you know, has a running group, like all this different stuff that's just kind of, you know, business options basically. So that's fun. It's fun to like have other people who are, you know, interested in driving this, and they know that they're, you know, cruising for like probably some sort of, at the very least, profit sharing, if not like equity stake in this company. So money is a good motivator. And fortunately, they've both had the experience of being at a group event where, you know, because we pay them kind of like commission, I guess, for lack of a better way of describing it. But like we give them a base rate plus commission, and, you know, they show up and make $50 an hour for not really doing anything. Basically, that's what it came down to, in both occasions. So that's a good precedent to set. And, you know, depending on how they choose to treat those assets, that might be $50 tax-free. So we'll see what, you know, it's up to them, but we will report it as a company, but whether or not they do anything about that, I don't know. But yeah, I figured, I'm not sure I'm going to launch into this immediately, but we are looking for somebody, and have been looking for a doc for a long time. And, well, I say a long time, probably about 4 months. And it's kind of that time of year where residents are looking for jobs, so I figured I would talk about that tonight. Contractors love physical cash. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, we had that conversation where, you know, we were like, hey, we're going to issue a 1099 as a business, you know, for like, you know, wages paid, but, you know, if you guys choose not to report that, then more power to you. Like, that's on you. You figure it out. And yeah, this is supposed to, like, it's supposed to be a fun thing, you know? Where you just kind of show up and, like, go home with some cash in your pocket. And why not? Inject people. I really do think it's fun. It's a good time. Especially for the hangover people, man. When somebody with a brutal hangover gets an IV, you are like their god. You are their savior in that moment. And it's real tough. I always, you know, you kind of develop these spiels for people, like when you're pitching a product to them. And unfortunately, that is sort of what this involves a lot of the time, is pitching things to people. But, you know, you get your buzzwords together that seem to, like, motivate people to do what you want them to do. And one thing that I always sort of drop is, like, you know, it's very difficult to convince somebody who already feels like shit to get stuck with a needle. But once they do and they figure out how much it helps, they're just on. They are on board forever. And they will call you anytime. Anytime they get in a bind or feel like ass because they were, you know, had more than one Bud Light and the impurities in it did them wrong. Oh, in other news, by the way, speaking of businesses, I have often referred to a guy named Devin Nash in this stream in the past. And in case that doesn't ring a bell, he's a digital media marketer and runs his own agency where he basically, like, sells advertisements for brands, for, like, major brands. He has a Patreon that's really, really useful. If you want to know anything about small businesses or, you know, digital media marketing or anything like that, it's, I think the ground level's like $5 a month. And honestly, like, and he tells you this, you can just, like, pay the subscription fee, download all of his videos, and then unsubscribe and, like, fuck off. I mean, he's a Zen Buddhist and has sold, like, a, you know, 8-figure value company, and he's just like, I have more money than God, I don't really give a shit, I don't care. Like, he's like, I want to provide value for you guys, I don't really care if you give me your money. You know, I'm sure he does, or else he wouldn't be in business. But, you know, on some level, he cares if you give him your money. But in any event, I find his content really valuable and helpful and insightful. And he started streaming again for the first time in 3 years, yesterday? And I think he's going to be streaming Tuesdays and Fridays. Is today Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. So yeah, Tuesdays and Fridays. Like at, I think, 2 p.m. Central Time or noon Pacific. So check that out if you have any interest in that. And he ventures into, like, the sort of like all things tech, you know. He'll talk a little bit about cryptocurrency and, like, AI and things like that. So he's an interesting dude. This looks like a vaccine allergy. Oh my god. This teenager was given 3 vaccines at once. Okay. Most for death is a possibility. That would be extremely unlikely. So teenager just given 3 vaccines at once. Okay, so obviously the implication here that the poster is making is that this is, like, you know, vaccines are killing this person. So my question is, why would they do a bone marrow biopsy? So this doesn't, like, the timeline doesn't make any sense, right? So, like, she has this terrible thing, and they did a bone marrow biopsy, and she couldn't get treatment unless her vaccines were up to date, but it's the vaccine's fault that this is happening? That doesn't make any sense. So there's certainly history of vaccines causing, like, blood clots, or anaplastic reactions, meaning, like, your bone marrow stops making cells, or, you know, like, doesn't make enough cells. So, I mean, that exists. That does happen. And this definitely looks like some sort of, like, weird bleeding problem, you know, where she's having petechiae and, you know, bleeding out of control into her skin, essentially. What condition do I think she has? I think she has some sort of, like, bleeding disorder. Like, hemophilia, or, I don't know what another disease would be. Vitamin K deficient, or Jesus, what is it? Protein C or S deficiency. Something that just, like, makes her bleed out of control. That would be my guess. Because I bet you this is all blood. Like, all of this, you know, inflammation and stuff is blood. Given how her forehead looks. Or, she has an injury. You know, which is causing this. So, like, got in a car wreck or some shit and, like, you know, fractured her orbits, or she has, like, a Lafort fracture, like, broken skull kind of thing. So, I don't know. It's hard to tell just from this picture. But that would be my guess. Injury actually looks more likely. But she could also have... Looks like got a bout with Ronda Rousey. Yeah, dude. Looks pretty rough. But it might be cancer. You know, it might be some sort of, like, blood cancer. Leukemia, or something that just, like, causes you to not generate any useful blood cells. That would also, you know, do the bleeding thing that I was talking about. Within 10 minutes of the vaccine, she couldn't move her arms. Yeah, I don't know what would do that. You sure it isn't the tetanus vaccine? Pretty sure. But I tell you what, though, man. Every time I have a tetanus vaccine, I feel like somebody beat the living crap out of me. I don't look like that. But, like, my arm, I don't tolerate it very well. My arm hurts like a bitch. I mean, not, you know, I can, like, use it and stuff, but it's very sore. It feels like somebody hit me really hard. Actually, I had that reaction with the second COVID vaccine as well. I didn't handle that one super well either. But I recognize that that's a very small evil to endure, to not get tetanus or pertussis. Like, more importantly, not to get fucking pertussis. That shit is terrible. Like, I saw one of the weirdest things I saw as a med student was this woman who had had heart surgery, and she was like 500 pounds. She'd had heart surgery and somehow got pertussis, and like her boobs were so huge that when she coughed, they would kind of like lift up and drop down a little bit, just a little bit, and she ripped open her sternotomy wound that way. So, like, she coughed so much that her boobs pulled her sternotomy apart. And, of course, as the med student on the case, and I was on the plastic surgery team at the time, and they called, and so she coughs open her sternotomy, and, like, just stays at home. You know, just stays at home for a while, so, like, of course everything gets, like, all infected, and it's real fucked up, and they can't just close the wound. So we were in there as plastics to kind of like debride everything and take off all, like, a lot of the dead tissue, and sort of make it like cosmetically a little bit better. But I like basically laid over the patient, and as soon as I'm not getting shot here, I will show you what I did. Maybe. Apparently that's never gonna happen, so you don't get to see what happened in this cursed OR. Okay, anyway, so I was scrubbed in, I was sterile, but I laid over this lady and went like this. Can you see this? So I have her boobs, and I'm laying over her like this, holding her boobs up so the surgeon can like wire her sternum back together. And I did that for like 2 hours. I was so uncomfortable and so sore by the end of that. And then of course when he's done, he's like, okay, stand up, and like starts giving me these other instructions. I'm like, bro, I've been holding up a couple like 30-pound titties and leaning over this person for a long ass time. I can't just stand up and start doing something else. But yeah, that was definitely what it's like to be a med student moment. Like, hey, med student, hold these giant boobs while I fuck around and fix this sternum. It'll be fine. Just stand there. All you gotta do is stand there. It's no big deal. We're not even asking you any questions. Just hold them up. Was I lightheaded? No, I was just really sore. I did a lot of things, man. You're like, a lot of the time, you are a living retractor. You just are like, you exist to hold things in place for a long time. And actually, when I was on that same rotation, one of the plastic surgeons was a breast surgeon, and we went in to, you know, repair this lady's, like, you know, put in implants after her mastectomy. And she kept telling me to like pull harder and pull harder and pull harder. I was like holding the pec muscle up because she was putting the implant under the pec. And she's like, you know, I've got a lot of bleeding in here. I'm like, am I like hurting her muscle? Like, am I tearing her muscle apart? Because I'm pulling really hard right now. I'm pulling on this very hard. I am kind of uncomfortable with how hard I'm lifting this lady's muscle up. And she was like, no, you're fine. And then like bleeding continues, and then she's like, you know what, actually maybe stop doing that. So, and I did. So interesting story with you ask if I was lightheaded. So I found out very quickly that I never knew when I was going to eat on that rotation. Like, never had any idea, because I might be like one of the there were only 2 surgeons. So there's the breast surgeon, and she did a lot of pediatrics too, which is really cool. By the way, pediatric plastic surgery is awesome. But the other guy did like this operation called free flaps, and I think I've talked about these before because they're terrible. But it's basically like, instead of a graft where you just like take a piece of skin and put it, you know, wherever it needs to be, you actually take the blood supply and like skin and subcu tissue and all that stuff. So you actually like take a chunk of somebody out instead of just the skin part, and graft it to whatever needs to be covered. And so you have to like sew the blood supply into the blood supply of wherever you're grafting. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So for obvious reasons, that takes a lot freaking longer than just putting a piece of skin on somebody and like stapling it in place and hoping it works. So if you got stuck in one of those surgeries, you were there. I mean, they were like 20-hour surgeries, because this surgeon was pretty slow. And I mean, they're, even for a fast surgeon, they're 13-hour surgeries. You know, it's not, they're terrible regardless of who you're with. And you know, unless somebody just sort of had mercy on you and is like, why don't you take a break? You didn't get to eat for that whole time. You know, you just don't eat. So I was like carrying these weight gainer bars around. There's like 400 calorie energy bars. And I gained 10 pounds on this rotation where I was working like 100-hour weeks, because I just eat those. I just eat one of those whenever I had a chance, because I never knew when I was going to get another meal. Redirect lightheaded from the 2-hour boner. Dude, that's just a way of life, man. I'm not, that doesn't even faze me anymore. I think my body just like made more blood, because it's like, oh, you got a boner constantly? Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. We'll just make more cells, man. We got you. We got this. Evolution, baby. This is what we call convenience. Maybe some other dude's not ready to go, but you are. Let's fucking do this. Let's see. Okay, I am very close to being a happy boy. Alright. Let's see, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a bunch of levels down here. Cool. You get tired of standing, you tripod. Absolutely. Just kind of like lean forward a little bit. Ah, that's better. So relaxing. That would actually be like really terrible, given that my career is spent in very thin pajamas. pretty sure I would just live in HR, as though I don't anyway. Somebody would find some reason to get offended. Can't imagine what it would be. The doctor's lounge would be an interesting place, though. So I see you're happy to see me. Yeah, I guess so. Sure. What was that over there? Orb of Binding. That is not worth going back for at all. Item filter. You disappoint me. Oh god. This movement speed is not thrilling. Oh yeah, by the way, this build, if anybody is interested, is it's kind of like 70% online right now. Actually, I don't even know if that's true. It's probably about 40% online right now. Because at least I can use Lightning Arrow. And I have a helmet that I'll show you very shortly, but things keep popping up and attacking me. I haven't had much luck with that tonight. There. I have this. I have Asenath's Mark. So whenever I attack, I trigger Lightning Conduit. So where I'm going with this is I will be using the Voltaxic Rift, which converts all of your lightning damage to chaos damage. And I'm an occultist, so I, have a lot of multipliers for chaos damage. So Lightning Conduit, in case you didn't see, gives you lots and lots and lots of more damage per shock effect. And I will always have 105% shock effect on everything that I attack, including like in-game bosses. So this will end up doing a ridiculous shitload of damage. Like I think with a quality-less gem, it will do, I know you guys can't see this very well, but 4 million damage, 4.2. And if you change to quality, which I will absolutely have a quality gem, goes up to 4.9 million. So yeah, for me, pretty good damage. And I'm hoping this character ends up being as durable as it sounds like it's gonna be, but bows are always a bit of a mixed bag on that front. All right, so let's talk about the title here. So as I mentioned, we are looking for a physician because one of my partners is retiring. So here's the structure of our group. Let's back up a second. So right now we have 9 people. One of them is half-time, and he's basically our vacation coverage. He's like semi-retired. So he is fully retiring as of January 1st. Another partner who is in his early 60s, I think he's 62, he is partially retiring and taking that spot. So we all have 10 weeks of vacation. The full-time people have 10 weeks of vacation. So we have 80 weeks that need to be covered. obviously there's 52 in a year, so we need somebody to cover 28 weeks so we can get all those weeks of vacation in. So we have some options that we've talked about if we can't hire anybody, but the ideal situation is we hire another person and just carry on as we are now, and that's what we're trying to do. So we've been, you know, interviewing and like had a few bites and stuff, but nobody's really latched on. And honestly, part of our problem is we pay, like, the number that we pitch to people for the pay is not good for the area. Like, one of the academic centers actually got so desperate that they floated $600,000 to people, which is superficially pretty good. But the job sucks. The hours are terrible. The residents are, you know, there's some good ones, but they are sort of notorious as not being a very strong program. And, you know, you get brutalized on call that's super duper busy overnight. You do a bunch of really high level, high acuity cases. And after, like, all of our benefits and stuff, like, our retirement is absolutely freaking awesome. And so they end up making, like, their real total compensation is like $30,000-ish more than we have, but our quality of life is amazing. You know, I know they're, like, I guess I shouldn't get into too many details, but, like, call is good, pay is good, you know, it's still above a lot of what, you know, what a lot of people make, but kind of low end of average, like I said. And there are a couple locations, like one mega group in the area that is struggling real hard right now, from assuming that the rumors I hear are true. And, like, you know, the pretty damning things, like they're not able to pay people the money that they're promised. And I mean, that really pretty much says it all. Like, they do the work, and then at the end of the year they don't get paid what they should, so fuck that. I don't know why they have any employees left at all, honestly, but, you know, I guess some people value brand loyalty a little more than I do. Anyway, one of the questions for Anesthesia app is, what does your practice look like? Interesting. Why? What does that mean for a student, I guess? Or for a resident, for that matter. Like, you have no idea. What's this? Oh, getting spammed on Kick, of course. Part of it's like fellowship or not. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I can see that. But so where I'm kind of going with this is, so pay on paper for us is low average, right? Maybe below average. But pay per hour is probably highest in the city. Or it's at the very least top 3. And those hours, some of them are hard. Like, we work really hard. Like, we produce, well, I don't know what it is since we hired an extra person, because like a year and a half ago we went up a person because we were kind of getting our asses kicked. But before that we were like over 90th percentile nationally in terms of production per person. So like we work pretty hard. But, you know, a lot of that work from day to day gets put on 2 people. So it's like the 2 people who are in the operating room are the ones that are just like absolutely busting their asses. So like the other people, you know, might be working hard, but they also might like go up to OB and do like 3 or 4 epidurals and then basically be done for the day. So their hours are not that bad. Like the 2 dudes in the OR, they're getting hammered no matter what. Like every single day you get pounded, unless for whatever reason the schedule is like freakishly light. But like the job is good, is where I'm going with this. So like there's 2 people getting crushed, but the other 3 you know, are just kind of going with the flow, taking it pretty easy. And it's really hard to know that. Even when you come and interview and people are like, yeah, you know, it's call is good. You only get called once or twice overnight. And yeah, you know, you work really hard when you're in the OR, but it's less bad when you're not. And you're only there, you know, when you're the late guy. So like the day after your post call, or, you know, if you just kind of like shuffle into that as one of the later people in the schedule. But, like, you kind of have to, like, take somebody's word for that, which is the problem. Because there are tons of places who just, you know, obfuscate the bad parts of the job because they want you to join. You know, it's obvious. And you have to look out for that. And that's, I would say that is the norm. Like, what we're doing is not. Offering a genuinely good job where you get paid a fair wage is not very common in medicine, especially these days. The worst OR nurse experience I've ever had? Oh, man. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Actually, I have... so I'll say this. Overall, I've been pretty happy with the OR nurses. There are other nurses that I have been less happy with. But in the operating room, generally had pretty good experience with the nurses. Most of them have been extremely helpful. Let's see. Thinking seriously with one of your friends, you don't want to do regular call? You can totally do that. Paying locums and professorship? Nah, you don't have to. You don't have to do those things. Locums is a good option. I mean, you can make a, like, freaking killing doing locums, man. Like, if you're willing to take shitty jobs in the middle of nowhere for a little while after training, you are going to make an absolutely ridiculous amount of money. Just kind of, like, burn yourself for a while. And, like, realistically, they're probably not that bad in terms of, like, hours. It's probably just going to be, like, you're the only person there, so you have to cover a week at a time. You know, like, you're on call for literally an entire week straight. So that sucks. But you're also probably making $400 an hour round the clock, no matter what you're doing, you know, whether you're working or not. So, you know, maybe not that bad. But the other thing that you can do is surgery center work. There are plenty of groups that just only work at surgery centers, or surgery centers that just employ their own anesthesiologists, you know, and you might get, like, equity shares or something like that when you do that. So that's, if you don't want call, that's what I would do. You will take a pretty substantial pay decrease, though. That's a lot less lucrative than just a full-time job. Normal cat pics? Nice. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, dude? OR nurse checklist story. Maybe. That does sound like something I would do. It's going good, man. It's going good. It's good to be here. I haven't streamed a whole lot recently, so it's nice to come back and see a couple of the regulars here as well, and also a new face. I love it. What brings you to the stream? Just out of curiosity. I'm not the most visible person in the world in terms of you know, digital media presence, so. Okay, well, let's think about this briefly. So let's pause. So point of that story was sometimes it is very difficult to tell the quality of a job even after you interview there. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. God, worst OR nurse experience. Having to dig deep on this one. Man. Oh, I can think of one. I can think of a really good one. So, there was a dude who actually got fired from my, I worked with him when I was in residency, and he got fired from there for stealing people's stethoscopes and selling them on eBay. And the way that he got caught was that one of the CRNAs that I worked with saw his stethoscope on eBay and bought it, and like told him he could pick it up locally. And he was like, oh yeah, cool, I'm in Kansas City. And met this guy and was like, hey, so that's really cool, it's my name. Oh look, that's actually my stethoscope. So like turned the guy in, turned the nurse in. But we were so he worked as a I guess they're not called locums, traveler. He was a traveler at the hospital I'm at now. And we were in the middle. So previously, like this was one of the shittiest calls that I've had there, actually. So previously in the night, we did an organ procurement. You saw my ad in the PoE Discord? Well, shit, glad did I put that up there. I just, I do that from time to time when I think about it, and hey, welcome. Glad it worked. So yeah, you'll like this story. So an organ procurement, for anybody who does not know, aren't even nice stethoscopes a few hundred? Yeah, like really nice ones are a couple $100. It's not worth it. It's totally not worth it. Like, you steal a monogrammed stethoscope, dude, like, don't freaking sell that online. How stupid are you? Like, don't steal that. Don't steal a personalized stethoscope. You're a dumbass. So anyway, we had an organ procurement, which basically means there's somebody who's brain dead, and their family, they're an organ donor, and their family decides, like, okay, there's no point in prolonging this, like, we're gonna get this patient, like, you know, they're just gonna, like, slowly die, so we're gonna get his organs to somebody who can use them. And so they take this patient down to the operating room and literally chop them apart, and it's a very strange thing. But anyway, I mean, it's a good thing, you know, for lots of people who get these organs, but obviously a really heart-wrenching thing for the, you know, family of the person. Anyway, we're getting a little far afield here. So that happened earlier in the night. And then later that night, we had a trauma where as I recall, there was a dude who had a psychotic break and shot his mom 5 times. So we're working on his mom. And it was, you know, probably like 6 in the morning, kind of shift change-ish time. Dude needs to go to cardiology clinic, he'd make a killing. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're in doing this trauma at like 6 in the morning, and the day team comes in, and this lady's like, I mean, she got shot in the, you know, abdomen and chest 5 times. She's doing really bad. So we're struggling. We're pouring blood in this lady, you know, trying to get everything set up. The surgeon's coming in, you know, doing surgery things, and so this nurse who was on, the stethoscope stealing dude, like, just kind of talked to the day team nurse and was like, okay, so are you good? You good? And the day team guy was like, who was actually an amazing nurse, really, really helpful and on the ball, good at what he does. He was like, well, I guess? Like, what the fuck? You're gonna leave? And so this other guy just, like, walks out, and the day nurse was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing this with, like, no checkout, no information, like, here we go. So I finished my shift. Like, we technically go off call at 7. So, you know, I'm in there doing whatever, and I probably was there till, like, 8 or 9, I think, just helping, you know, make this shit show go a little bit more. And so the day nurse was out, like, walking around, because there's 2 of them. This was on a weekend, by the way. So they have 2 nurses, just, you know, so they can, like, get a break, or, you know, just more hands on deck. So this guy, the good nurse, the daytime guy, pulls me aside and he's like, hey, did you hear what happened with the organ procurement? I was like, no, dude, I have no idea what the hell is happening. I was getting my ass kicked all night, hadn't heard. So what happened? You guys will like this. What happened is the previous guy, the stethoscope stealing dude, brought, like, after the organ procurement was done, so, you know, empty body, basically, in a body bag, he just brought the body bag on a stretcher down to the morgue and just left it there. Like, no identifying information, no papers, no notification to anybody that this was happening. Just like brought the body down there, just left it like in the hallway. Not even in the morgue. He just left it in the hallway. So obviously he was quickly fired for that. But I'm not sure that qualifies as like worst OR nurse story for me personally, because he sucked at his job regardless, so whatever. But that was a good one. That is some wild shit right there. It sounds like a crime. It does sort of sound like a crime, doesn't it? I'm not sure if it is or not, but not ideal. Not ideal. So yeah, just left a dead body in the middle of the hallway. So that's cool. Oh, 7 months sub, Cockroach Princess, you're the bomb. Thanks, man. Good to see you. It actually notified me of it this time. I feel like the last couple times you've subscribed, it like went unnoticed for some reason. It didn't pop up on my notification log. But hey, you get all of the notoriety that you deserve this time. Congratulations on giving me Amazon's money. Really appreciate it. All the regulars here, man. It's cool. It's good to see you guys, even though my schedule has not exactly been regular. Make sure to get the stethoscope out of the bag every time. How'd this get in here? These dead bodies with their stethoscopes. Oh, by the way, I meant to ask you guys, how was the stream quality of the tabletop games? If you watched it. Just curious. Because I've like kind of continuously tweaked little things. It's never going to be amazing just because of the setup and the fact that I'm way too cheap to actually make it good. But I'm trying. Definitely more watchable. Okay, good. Good. Yeah, I can't quite figure out how to get the cameras to focus well enough to read fine details, but you know, I think maybe I'm asking too much because those cards in the Arkham Horror card game are like the lettering is very small. Like even when you're just like looking at it, you know, from a foot away from your face, it's pretty tiny. So maybe I'm asking a little much from the cameras, but I've tried to get them, like, get the focal length right and stuff. It should be, according to the package, you know, like the tech specs, it should be like optimum focal length. Basically, it's like right in the middle of the range, so that should not be the issue. It's basically just fine-tuning all of the camera settings and stuff, which I've tried to do, but I don't think it really has made that much of a difference, to be honest. But if you guys feel like it changed, then great. Fantastic. That game is badass, by the way. If you guys like, you know, any sort of like card games or tabletop gaming, that kicks ass. Totally recommend it. Ow! You bastards. Just trying to level up here. Okay, so full circle. So, difficult to know how good a job is superficially, right? So, what do you look for? Like, how do you weed out the bad ones? That's really what you want, right? Because there are some places that are just gonna gouge you. Let's see, train AI model to recognize the cards on the table. Oh, now we're talking. You have a portion of your stream that'd cycle through each unique card every 8 seconds. Oh shit. Well, that might be cool. I think I'd probably need better cameras for that, though. I'd probably need... There's a Sony camera that I've been kind of kicking around picking up for a long time now. It's like $700. Not sure that that's really worth it. That's kind of getting deep into it. But it would do that. It's a DSLR that you can also use for streaming purposes. I've forgotten the model number, but it's like a well-known sort of... It's like the entry-level upgrade to DSLR broadcasting. Because I know, like, a good DSLR camera is, like, many times more expensive than that. And then, you know, you've got to buy lenses and all that shit. And this one has a built-in lens. But apparently it's very high quality. Like, it's a great bang for the buck. But, I don't know. If I can do what I want with it, it's certainly not off the table. Current camera video would work fine? Okay. Gonna be cropped into 1080, you think? Because the face cam is 4K. I mean, not the face cam, the face cam Pro is 4K. The regular face cams are 1080. So it might look really weird on YouTube or something, maybe. Because that might crop it. Not gonna know how to use it. Oh yeah, I absolutely will. That does not hurt my feelings. I have no idea what I'm doing. I freely admit that I have no idea what I'm doing. Trickiest part's training the model. Okay. Well, I may look into figuring out how to do that. I need to sort of educate myself on AI anyway. Like, I'm totally ignorant of how to make that work for me in any sense. Have to do the reads live? Yeah, it would. Training a model would be surprisingly quick using pathology AI software. Okay, well. We've got multiple votes for that, so maybe that's the way to go then. I mean, that'd be kind of... That would be pretty cool. And I wonder if you could do some sort of, 4K on paper and that's it. 4K on a webcam is worse than 1080p on a full camera. Interesting. How? Okay. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but okay. Any tabletop streamer would pay for it? Yeah, well, I mean, that sounds okay. I like getting paid for things. What I was thinking of in my mind is, like, having, like, doing what you guys are saying, basically, but then have some sort of, like, in the stream, have, like, a pop-up window or something, like, in the corner of the, stream feed, where, like, there's like a box that pops up around the card, and then it like zooms the card over and zooms in on it. Or recognizes the card and puts up a picture of the card, which might be better. But then I would have to like train it to recognize every Arkham Horror card, which I don't know. That doesn't sound like that would be very difficult. Have a 1/6 of the screen dedicated to a large enough cycling. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that idea. I'm sure there's a lot of, you know, details and bullshit to it that would need to be worked out. Sensor size determines detail. Okay, well that makes sense. Oh yeah. Ooh, I can use this ring now. Do I want to, though? I'm not sure I do. Nope, eat a dick. Don't you attack me. Oh, I should put in my additional accuracy gem there. Build an app that would allow people to mouse over each card on the video? Oh, dude, be still my beating heart. That sounds freaking great. Probably need Twitch approval. Yeah. Or I could just do it. Photographer, you've done so much reading about this, yeah. I believe you. I'm more than happy to take your word, because I know nothing about anything video, really. What was I doing? Oh yeah, getting that gem. To allow you to use that plugin with their stream. Oh yeah, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. There we go. Get in my bow, please. Oh, I like this idea. Once that kind of becomes a more common thing, you know, like where I'm actually broadcasting regularly. Oh, shit. What? Oh, that's not what I wanted to do at all. I did want to go to the waypoint. Want to point and shoot, but the cheap ones are recycled phone sensors? Really? Ah. Go figure. That is crazy shit. Did not know it. Neural network output layer would be each of the cards. Oh shit, not paying attention. Maybe I should watch what I'm doing. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. That'd be fun. Yeah, I mean, I would like to make it as quality of an experience as possible without really spending any more money on it. Time is fine, because I can tinker with stuff and whatever. It's a passion project, so like I don't mind doing that. But I'd rather not, you know, turn this into like a $3,000 experience if I can avoid it. Makes no sense that you can buy a $2,500 camera at Costco. Yeah, well, you can buy pretty much anything at Costco. Pretty sure you can buy, like, Indonesian children at Costco. They make really nice clothes. That's Wayfair? Oh, you're right. You got me. Touché. Touché, sir. Oh man, I mean, if you're willing to help me out, that's fantastic. I can use all the help I can get. See those cards in true HD. Indonesian children at Costco. Hey man, you heard it here first. Best deal in town. Woo. Ow, this bleeding sucks. Note to self, get bleed immunity on my flask. God. Cease and desist order from Costco. Probably so. My rotisserie chickens are now $9.99 instead of $4.99. No, say it ain't so, Costco. Say it ain't so. Ah, what in the flying fuck is happening here? My connection is not good tonight. I don't know why. Membership has been revoked. It better not be, man. I buy all sorts of shit from there, including diapers. I don't know where I would be in life without Costco diapers and paper towels. Wipes? Oh, man. Love me some Costco wipes. That is like the parent cure-all. And then there's bourbon. I also buy a fairly unreasonable amount of alcohol from Costco. And and Indonesian children. They're treated well. Don't worry. No BJ's down south. Nope. And you know, oddly enough, Whole Foods, like Whole Foods is sort of like legendarily expensive, but they have a very reasonably priced and quality selection of good liquors. I was surprised. I didn't even bother looking there, but I went through there to get, what did I get? Cocktail cherries. I went through there to get cocktail cherries, and it was like, I mean, some of their stuff was cheaper than Costco, actually. Pretty impressive. Ow. Oh yeah, I have that focus thing. Yeah. Machine gun. Oh yeah, and I need to automate Assassin's Mark. Hey. Ooh. Spicy. What you doing? Huh? Oh. That was good. Thank you so much. Was what? Oh, shaving cream. I'm going to shave later. It's generally what I use it for. And I didn't want to disturb you. I am, yeah. Pubes. Yeah. There's nothing weird about that. It's just dudes having fun. My lovely wife paid to visit to me. Don't need 2 liters of bourbon. You don't get 2 liters of bourbon. You just get nice bourbon for a reduced price. Get yourself a bottle of Angel's Envy, man. Angel's Envy finished rye is my rye of choice, personally. If you don't like an ass ton of vanilla, you will not like it, because it's finished in rum casks, and you really get that like rum vanilla taste in it. But in my opinion, that makes it like ideal for old fashions and Manhattans. Awesome choice. Really, really, really good choice. It is still a liter, that's true. Or 3/4 of a liter. Damn it. Here we go. Which way do I go? Do I go this way? Sure. Yeah, if you like rum and you like bourbon, you will like this rye. It's kind of expensive. I think it's like 65 bucks a bottle, but for as much as I drink, that's 100% worth it. I don't, you know. I really do not put away that much booze. Being hungover as a parent is like pretty much the worst thing I could ever possibly imagine. There are no breaks. No breaks for pounding heads. Hangover plus wah equals sad? Yes, it equals me going wah too. It is not cool. Things you could do with $65. make a lot of really good Manhattans and old fashions. That's one thing. That's one thing that you could do. Which is routinely my choice. All right, shall we talk about red flags for jobs? Actually, be on topic. That's good though, man. You guys come up with some freaking badass ideas. I love it. Make a pretty. Yes, you could make a pretty good old fashioned with $20. I agree. You could make an almost as good one with Russell's Reserve 10-year. Very good bourbon. $35 bottle. Very, very good bourbon. Corporate translation key? Uh-oh. Well, this is for medicine in particular. So I'm talking about things like they edge you until the final round, say there's somebody who can start day one while you can't. Yeah, well, that sucks. So that's one thing that's kind of weird that a lot of people seem to do. That has nothing to do with like job quality, but I've noticed that there are a lot of people who finish residency and then start August 1st instead of July 1st. And that is baffling to me because, like, yes, believe me, I understand that residency is terrible and you need a break, but dude, is it worth $30,000 to have time off or $40,000 to have time off? God damn, that's a lot of opportunity cost just to like get your life in order. I mean, if you gotta move, sure, okay, you know, I get it, but like maybe start in 2 weeks or something. Like I started residency I started working after residency the next day. I was a resident on Thursday and I started Friday. We're families, you're gonna work for free. Yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah, you have to like. So this is okay. Part of the reason I find this to be an important topic is I feel like nobody told us what to look for, and I've mentioned this ad nauseum on stream, right? Nobody told us what to look for in jobs, and the ones who did sort of like try to do that told us all the wrong shit. So, like, here's an example. So, the guy who used to be the program director where I was resident and kind of moved on to being more like hospital what am I trying to say? General medical education, like administrator, more or less. So he sort of wasn't as involved with the anesthesia department in particular. He was just sort of all over all of medical education. Anyway, he talked with us about, you know, getting a job, like this topic. But one thing that he just like was like his holy grail was payer mix, and he was like, yeah, you know, it's really important to find a job that has a good payer mix. And by payer mix, he means like whether the patients are insured, do they have Medicare and Medicaid, you know, do they pay their bills, do they pay cash, like all that sort of stuff. But that's all nonsense, because if you work at a hospital, you're not going to be like, there will be a high enough percentage of Medicare and Medicaid patients, at which are the lowest reimbursing insurances by far. There will be a high enough percentage of patients paying with those or covered by those insurances. Bummer. That you won't be self-sustaining. You'll need a hospital subsidy. Like, you'll have to be paid by the hospital in some capacity to make a fair market wage. So it doesn't matter. Like, the only way around that is if you have like a cash only practice, cash up front, or if you have a private pay only practice. Those exist. You know, think plastic surgery or dermatology or something like that. Cosmetic derm. So that happens, but asking for somebody's payer mix is like, it makes no difference at all. can't have a 9-to-5 mentality. Yeah. You intern for free at a sports center? Boo. Do not approve. Do not approve this message. Yeah, so basically, like, you're gonna make what you make, right? So there's, what's a good way of saying this? Within those constraints, within the you make what you make thing, you know, premise, there's quite a lot of variation, though, right? So there are as many structures of payment as there are jobs, pretty much. So there's everything from, like, eat what you kill completely, you know, where you make money for however, you know, like, your pay is totally based on production, to straight up salary, right? And everything in between. So what you need to figure out is how that works, right? So if you're straight up salary, like, what's your compensation, or what happens if your workload increases? You know, one problem that one of my partners had at his previous job is he was in an academic place and there was scope creep. So, you know, they'd be like, oh yeah, so actually you guys are gonna need to cover this hospital now. Oh, you guys need to cover this surgery center now. Oh, you guys need to do this. And there's, like, no compensation for any of that because they hadn't accounted for any of it in the contract. So you need to ask the job, you know, your employer, what happens. You know, if they ask you to write a lecture and talk to med students, you know, once a month or something, are you compensated for the work that you put into that? Like, can you document the time you spend gathering resources and information and actually, like, delivering these talks? And, you know, if the answer is no, then, you know, you gotta figure that out, whether that's worth it to you or not. The possibility that they're gonna say, oh, by the way, now you have an extra, you know, 10 to 15 hours of work per month that you just have to eat. You know, is that okay with you? To some people it is, and they get jobs in academia, and to some people like me, that is absolutely not, and I would find a different job. So, yeah. So if duties increase, what's the plan? You need to know that. What is your call schedule? Is there call? You know, who covers after hours? That's another very important thing to know. And, you know, again, in the same grain as the first question, like, if somebody gets injured or sick or has an emergency, who covers? And how do you figure that out? And what is their compensation? Is there compensation? You know, is it, like, in our group, if that happens, it's just kind of a, you know, we figure it out. Like, one of my partners hurt his back at the gym, like, the day he was supposed to be on call, and we all just pitched together and did it. Like, we took his call for him that day. You know, like, we had 4 hours of notice to do it. But in a small private practice, like, somebody's got to be there. Somebody's got to be available. So, you know, we just kind of figured it out after the fact, and he's just gonna, like, owe those people time. But, you know, that kind of happens. But fortunately, in a, you know, more clinic-based, less emergency-prone kind of profession, you can generally avoid that a little more easily. Yeah, or if you're in academics, there's, you know, somebody that you can switch with pretty regularly. Pay a lawyer. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Never, ever sign anything at all, regardless of who assures you of what. Never sign anything without a contract lawyer looking at your contract. Even if you personally are a contract lawyer, have somebody else look at it. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Have somebody else look at your contract who knows what they're doing. Because you're going to miss stuff. You know, there's going to be... It's just like all hands on deck, right? There's... The more fingers you have in this pie, the more likely it is that everything's going to be discussed and found out beforehand. Yeah, if they give you vague answers for anything, no bueno. You need to nail them down. And they might not like that. They may find that, like, unseemly. But You need to figure that out. So this sounds like obvious, but ask what the salary and vacation time are, and your retirement. Like, just straight up ask those questions. Like, what is your reimbursement going to be? And you know, as before, it's not necessarily going to be salary. What will your pay be? How will you be reimbursed for your time? A lot of people don't ask that. They think that's like rude or something, because, you know, in America that's considered like a sort of faux pas to ask what people make, you know, which is, you know, I get that, but this is a business meeting, and you need, if you're signing up for a job, you need to know how you're going to be paid and how much you're going to be paid. So a common tactic of academic institutions is to float these, you know, what seem like and are big numbers to their students or their trainees, and like they get to them first, basically, right? So they're like, here's this big shiny number, and they lure them into a contract that blows, where, you know, they're probably getting paid fairly, but they're doing a job that sucks. You know, they're working a lot, they're, you know, probably not making as much as they could on the open market, and just generally are getting a raw deal. And that's very, very common for academic places to do that. They just poach their own people before they can get away. And so you have a lot of turnover there, which is another thing to look for, is turnover. So if there's, like my practice in particular, we haven't, like, nobody has left for a reason other than retirement in the last 7 years. Not a person. And that person, the last person who left, had a falling out with the, like, so we didn't used to be a group per se. It was actually like a practice that was owned by one guy, and we all worked for it. So when he retired, we became a group, like a partnership. And the woman who left had a she disagreed strongly with how the person who owned it previously was leaving, and with good reason, but she, you know, had a falling out with him. And the guy that left before that moved with his wife. So it wasn't, you know, there were sort of like acute events that happened that led to these people leaving. So if there's a lot of turnover there, why is there a lot of turnover? Did I get the fireflies? Yes, I did. Good. Yeah, if they give you a range, definitely a red flag. But if they don't give you a reason for that range, then yes, I agree, it's a red flag. If they say, like, well, you know, you make this much per RDU, then that's fine. You know, because obviously there will be a range there, like, depending on how many procedures you do, patients you see, that sort of stuff. Not everyone, if you are paid, you know, in an eat what you kill fashion, there will be a range of pay amongst people in a group. You've been helping your friends outside of medicine apply for jobs? That's an awesome idea, actually. It's really good to see what other job offers look like, because medicine is so weird in that respect. Like, how we get jobs, how we're paid, all of that stuff is, like, totally different than any other you know, employment anywhere. I need a minimum of X. There you go. Yeah, so I mean, I mentioned that you know, academic places tend to, like, kind of medium ball and then overwork students. So that's because students don't know what they're worth. So you need to do things like this. Figure out the employment website or websites for your specialty, whether it's anesthesia or what. So figure this out and then see what you're worth. Like, so Missouri, Kansas, where's Kansas? Starts with a K. Yep. Alphabet is hard. So look at this. So why would you do that? That's why you would do that. Right? 17 weeks off. advocate here is trying to get rid of their private groups and employ their own anesthesiologists. They said it's different per call and seniors get first dibs, so the range was bullshit. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's never gonna fly. Need to actually look up what I'm worth before I agree to sign a contract worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Yes, you do, believe it or not. But that's not really something that's encouraged in residency. Like this, so the guy that I mentioned who was teaching us about it, he definitely was like, you need to have your contracts looked at. Always do that. So that was well met, but I'm not saying all of his advice was bad, but it was just very like incomplete and kind of focused on the wrong things. Yeah, North Star's here. North Star has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 locations here. 1, 2, 3. At least 3 hospitals. I think it's 4. But yeah, yes, they're definitely here. You're becoming a doctor to save people, not steal their money. I know, but that's such a common sentiment. Like, I don't do this for the money, or there's not really that much of a difference between, you know, X and X plus Y. Like, yeah, there is. What are you talking about? Of course there freaking is a difference there. Like, if I were to make an extra $50,000, that's like, you know, that's more babysitting time, that's more investments, that's more financial comfort. You know, there's a huge difference there. Like, what the hell are you people talking about? That's for people who, like, get a bad job offer and want to make themselves feel better. Don't do that. 425 or 650, who cares? Yeah. So I think I know what this job is, actually. And, oh, this is at Providence. Oh, so this is an interesting case. So Providence is a North Star location, obviously, and they tried to get rid of anesthesiologists and have it be CRNA run. So they succeeded in getting rid of anesthesiologists, but they did not succeed in having a CRNA run. So now they're trying to rehire everybody. But I know that there are other North Star's other locations are actually pretty good jobs. So it doesn't pay a whole lot, but you get a ton of time off and they're slow. So you don't work super hard. And like your call is very, very, very light. But yeah, but it's a lot of call because there's going to be 3 of you, which is why you have the 17 weeks off, or 3 of you, 4 of you, and you just rotate. So you're on call every 3rd week, basically. It's not about the money. Yeah, if you say it's not about the money, you're just like, yeah, you're either wealthy or you need to pull your head out of your ass fast. But yeah, know that these things exist, right? This is a full-time job, W2, 625. You know, I mean, you're gonna make this kind of money, but there's gonna be lots of places trying to convince you to take less. Jinx Juju, you may have my Jinx Juju, sir. Party was disbanded. Well, fuck off. But yeah, never jump at the first offer without knowing what you've got. So, call is a tricky thing, because it's gonna be hard to know exactly what's going on, or if they're bullshitting you. Like, you need to ask about it. And kind of to one of my previous points is like, you don't necessarily know to what degree the people interviewing you are telling you the truth when they answer questions that are very sensitive like that. All right, so when you say, how's call? And they're like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. You know, like, what's pretty good mean? What does that mean? So, you need to get them, if you can, to put a fine point on that. And that's why we tell people, like, hey, our call, you know, it's home call, You generally get called once or twice a night. It's almost always for epidurals. You know, you very rarely do an OR case. It does happen, but highly recommended to have multiple job offers. Yeah, I mean, that certainly helps. Leverage is always a good thing. It's still useful in medicine, for sure. And especially in the market now, I think everybody is so short of doctors, because COVID just nuked the doctor supply. I think anesthesia got hit worse than most, or just operating rooms in general. Like, most people who were kind of within striking range of retirement were like, yeah, you know, I just really don't want to deal with this. So they retired. I think anesthesia might actually be the hardest hit by that. And but every specialty is there, so they're all short of people. Hospitals and clinics are like desperate to stop paying locums wages, because paying locums is way freaking more expensive than paying somebody full-time, because you got to pay them hourly instead of a, you know, negotiated long-term rate. But yeah, you definitely, it is definitely a seller's market right now. They're very favorable for people seeking jobs, that is. They increase the number of residency seats. Yeah, but maybe too little too late, I think, in that regard. And that's not really gonna hit the workforce for a long time. And yeah, in the meantime, there's going to be, you know, locums will continue to be a very lucrative, desirable job, and that'll continue the churn for places that aren't, you know, great places to work. They'll keep losing people because folks will just go do locums. Because why would you not? Speaking of which, there's apparently, and I'm so glad this is not something that I ever have to worry about, but I guess for clinical specialties like family practice or internal medicine or something like that, there's time that you're expected to spend like outside of your clinic hours answering emails, phone calls, that sort of thing. You need to figure out how much of that you're expected to do and what your callback rates are supposed to be. You know, like if somebody calls you, what sort of time frame do you have to respond to that before, you know, you get a nasty gram from administration or, you know, somebody's up your ass about it, basically. That sounds so bad. You know, but other obvious things are like, what's a typical day look like? Like, go there and figure out what the hell their clinic looks like or the operating room looks like. Those are super important things to do. You know, I know that, you know, they'll lead you through the operating room. So for in the case of anesthesia, they'll be like, hey, you know, come see the operating room. Like, you know what an operating room looks like. You're applying to anesthesia jobs. Like, you've been to anesthesia residency. They're all pretty much the freaking same. But go anyway. Go and see what the workflow looks like. Figure out what the facilities look like. You see how people interact and work together, or don't work together, as the case may be. And like, get a feel for the place. Look at their schedule. Look at what the operating room scheduling board looks like. You know, does it look like they're jam-packed? Is the scheduling efficient? You know, same thing for clinics. Like, is it like this weird shotgun-looking nonsense where there's like gaps between appointments and, you know, there's like weird overlaps. So like maybe you have an hour off and then there's 4 patients scheduled all at once. Like, you know, do the schedulers do their jobs right? That's a big deal too. Because they may not. They certainly may not. So like, how the logistics of the job flow can really affect the quality of your job. And you need to figure that out sooner rather than later. So yeah, like, ask about it. Check it out. ASA was saying the demand for anesthesiologists keep going up. Yeah, absolutely. More and more people need surgeries, and here we are. I think anesthesia in particular is like one of the older medical specialties, so like that problem's gonna get worse before it gets better. Because people are gonna be retiring. More people are gonna be retiring, I should say. Oh my god, where is the freaking temple? This map. Ugh. Yina, why are you so hard to get to? Is it like way down here somewhere? Guess it's gotta be. I've wasted so much time in this map. Shit. Worst layout during the campaign. Absolutely. 100% agree. And where the fuck do I go? Do I go back over here, I guess? This sucks. Yeah, I mean, it's... yeah. Oh, lightning resistant. No wonder they aren't dying. Is it over here? I mean, there's not a whole lot of this map that I haven't explored. Where is it? Maybe down this way? I would lose this race. If this were a race, I would not be doing well. Oh, Captex, are you going to be part of the gauntlet? Do you ever do that? I do not. My skill level is, not good enough to get me out of the mud flats. So, that is not my thing. Okay, I guess I'm going up this way. You gonna try it? Man, I just can't. I'm not good enough to make hardcore fun in any capacity, and then like make the game even harder. Like really the hardest part of the game, right? Like the first two acts, in my opinion, are way harder than anything else. Practice speedrunning and make builds, yeah. I try to be as fast as I can, but it's usually not very fast. This was actually going pretty smoothly, this particular character, but then I kind of hit this wall. I used that leveling method where you just like craft the envy and then craft wolves on swords and kind of go to town and just murder the game. But I hardcore ran into a wall on that at Act 6, so I had to kind of power level to 48 and get my corrupted Asenaths on, so I could actually sort of make the build that I'm doing work. And just like totally change course. Okay, so now I'm really confused. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go down this way. It does, yeah, it fell off like fast. I feel like I burned through the game. Oh, here we go. There it is. Son of a bitch. The doctor strike in South Korea. I have heard of that. Yeah, I have heard of that, actually. Haven't had a graduating class in 2 years because of the strikes. Oh, man. So, refresh my memory. I've forgotten why this is happening. But yeah, I have heard that it is happening. Yeah, I did the wolf thing. Hi, Yina. You just made my last 15 minutes really unpleasant. Alright, let's fucking get in here. But yeah, I used the wolf tech with, shoot, what was my last character? What was it? Oh yeah, it's this one. Leap Slam Ignite Elementalist, which was pretty good. Pretty freaking good. So that transitioned very easily away from the wolves, but this one was a little rockier. Because this build doesn't really make any sense. South Korea has shit cultures, politicians are corrupt, Dr. Life sucks. Okay, well, fair enough. That'll do it. That'll do it. Good place to be if you're a plastic surgeon though, right? Spec into the minion passives to get the most out of it. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. So this is a, I guess you, like, probably weren't here at the very beginning of the stream, but this is a really janky-ass build. This is what I'm, here. So this is a Voltaxic Rift Lightning Conduit proc occultist. So, yeah, it's a weird build and really won't come online at all until I get Voltaxic Rift. Like, I can kind of do it now. I'm proccing the, like, lightning stuff. But I have a bunch of weird shit going on. Like, Supreme Ostentation down here, so I don't have any gear requirements. Because, as you can see, the build does not exactly get a lot of strength or dexterity. And getting 212 for the bow was going to be a real big problem. But that also lets me use, let's see. Where, oh, hey, stop that. Lets me use this, which you can't see because I'm an idiot. Lets me go armor, basically. So we have that, and this is actually, what's the one that makes you gain more damage per power charge? Inner Conviction? This is almost as much damage as Inner Conviction. So you have 10 per power charge. Oh, this is nice. 80% to avoid being shocked. 10 per frenzy charge. Increased effect to shock, power charge, frenzy charge. So, like, the increased damage is like, I think I switched everything around. And even when you use the saved nodes, which would be all of these, it ends up being like 3 to 5% more damage for Inner Conviction. Or whatever the passive's called for the different Timeless Jewel. But then you would get a little bit more damage, but you wouldn't have Supreme Ostentation, so. And then I have the Impossible Escape, so I can actually allocate all of those without wasting an unbelievable amount of points. So, given that a go, I can't believe I found this Timeless Jewel, honestly, with Caspiro. I think it was like 10 divines or something, which for me is a shitload of currency, by the way. I have done well with farming currency this league. And I decided to dump it all into a weird-ass character. Because why not? Hey, Nightman. Take it easy. Good to see you again. Hopefully, I will be around much more frequently than I have over the past year and a half or so. Ooh, got a frog in my throat. Old houses be dry. Yeah, it's a good time. I always have, like, weird gadget builds. Very rarely play the, like, big meta stuff, unless it's, like, something crazy, like the, what was it, Crucible? Crucible had the, like, Totem Explode thing that you're like, okay, clearly this will never be around again after Crucible's done. They're going to destroy this build, because it's broken as fuck, so, like, things like that, I'm like, yeah, that looks cool, I'm gonna try it. But generally speaking, I opt for homebrew builds that, you know, maybe not the most effective thing. Like, this is clearly not a Lightning Strike Slayer by any stretch of the imagination, but it is fun. It's working. Soul Rend of the Spire mine. Oh, yeah, that sounds awesome. Nobody else is doing it according to PoE Ninja. Yeah, I couldn't find anybody doing this build either. Another build that nobody really seems to be doing is a Decay the Stormburst Occultist, which I also did this league. And it does a ton of damage, but I can't really figure out how to make it not super squishy. Because it's got, like, required uniques in all the wrong places, more or less. You kind of have to be an occultist. I guess you could probably get away with Trickster, but you'd do a lot less damage. You would sacrifice a ton of damage. Off-meta rocks, absolutely. I confess that I did do the Bleed Gladiator, though. I started with a Bleed Gladiator. I was like, this is too cool. I love Bleed. I haven't played a Bleed build in, I don't know, 3 years at least. Probably longer. Feels good to have Gladiator reworked and actually be like a useful class again. Yeah, I really had fun with that build too. Thing is a brick house, man. That character can just like sit in the worst nastiness the game has to offer and not worry about it. And I don't really even feel like I geared it that heavy. Started with Hex Blast. Yeah, Hex Blast is an awesome choice too. I'll do that at some point. I really want to, like, I love Tricksters. I like that idea, but it just seems so, it seems like everything you can do with a Trickster sort of converges into the same thing, kinda. Like, Hex Blast, I guess, would be an exception, but it's like, have this lightning attack, and pump your energy shield up really freaking high, and then you hit stuff, and it all disappears. Oh, by the way, this build costs 12 mirrors. Oh. Alright. So, yeah. I don't know. One of these days I'll do it. But probably not anytime soon. Ah, man. Oh, we're getting close. I keep forgetting to focus. There we go. So I came up with this, like, ridiculous pair of gloves. Video zoomed. Oh, shit. Sorry. You guys gotta tell me that stuff. You know that I'm incompetent. My bad. My bad. That's a good thing I'm not planning on making any money from this stream, huh? Just leave you guys in the Path of Building viewer forever. Can't see any chat or anything. Ow. Yeah, Rakali, eat it. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, I try to be good about my scene switching, but I am, not. Oh well. So I'm interested about this, South Korean doctor strike. Like, are they still hemorrhaging people? Might have to look that up and read about it in just a second. Like, I heard that that exists, and who knows? I mean, that's a real tough problem to recover from. I don't know how you're gonna handle a brain drain of that level. It is sort of hard to keep track of, yeah. Hey, maybe we'll have to talk about that. Oh, hey, stop that. Let's see if I can take that. Yes, I can! Yay! Well, this is doing okay so far. I worried that I was not going to be able to take any hits. Oh, okay, that's not working out. So I also have a really kind of ridiculous Watcher's Eye that I came across. I feel like I've gotten pretty lucky getting stuff for this character. So I have a Watcher's Eye that gives me Energy Shield on hit with, you know, with Discipline on. Life on hit with Vitality on, and like 90-something crit chance with Wrath on? That seems busted as hell in my humble casual gamer opinion. So I'm gonna try to make use of it, I guess. Was I bleeding or something? I didn't even notice that I was dying. So, yeah, Gauntlet, nope. Oh yeah, I was gonna read about the doctors. Shit, I'll just get to town. Yeah. Let's see what's going on there. I have done a very bad job of keeping up with current events in the science world. Ow! I was bleeding that time. That one I saw. Stop it. Ow! Okay, definitely need a bleed immune flask. This is getting ridiculous. So, I wonder... So Kimmer said that they upped the med school class, but that doesn't... I mean, that's a fix in... Well, it's not even a fix, really. That is a tourniquet in 6 years. So what are they gonna do now? Like, that's rough. Ah, it's freaking unique. That's crushing me with bleed. Unique, rare. Words are difficult. Very, very hard. So I realized today that I haven't really participated in the league mechanic here very much at all. Like I was loving it at first, and then I just kind of stopped doing it. And that's okay. I'm having a good time just kind of like cruising through characters, because I usually don't have the currency to fund like multiple, you know, in-game-ish dudes. They're gonna promote a lot of mid-levels. Oh, that's another good point. That's another thing that you really need to look out for in a job, is quality of mid-levels. And that will be a very difficult thing to get an actual read on unless you are in the company of some folks who trust you to, you know, not spread bad news, basically. Like, you need to figure out how good the people are who are working under you, as much as you can. Is, like, for my case in particular, like, I can't be in 4 operating rooms at once, so if the anesthetists are terrible, that's gonna make my life real freaking hard. And, you know, even if all of the other, like, the numbers and stuff are good, man, if you got that kind of stress hanging over you all day, every day, like you're worried that they're gonna, like, do some dangerous shit on your license, man, don't do it. Don't go there. That is stress you don't need. And that's like, I am very much not an academic kind of guy. Like, I like teaching, but I don't want to be mandated to teach, and I don't want to have to worry that the people under me don't know what they're doing. Because, like, if one of the people that I work with doesn't know what they're doing, like, we get rid of them. You know, we don't renew their contract. You don't really have that option, and it's not as smooth of a process. Fuck! Keep looking at chat. Bleeds get me. Stupid ass bleeds. Okay, we will fix that immediately upon entering town. after reading the Korean Dr. Stripe stuff. But yeah, gotta make sure the mid-levels are decent. Like, what I think of is our pre-op clinic in residency, where usually there were upper 30s to mid 40s patients getting evaluated. So in my world, if you go to a preoperative clinic, you have some like pretty significant medical conditions that might be a risk for you during surgery. So we want to talk to you beforehand to make sure all of those things are kind of like tuned up. That's what it is. You're tired, going to bed? See you, man. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. It's good to see y'all. But yeah, pre-anesthesia clinic is, you know, basically to make sure you're tuned up and we don't kill you. Because that's bad. And we would get sent down there as residents. And like I said, upper 30s, low 40s, mid 40s. And I would routinely see upper 20s patients. And there were 3 nurse practitioners there. So I would see over half the schedule, and they would split the remainder between them. So that is an example of how things should not work. That's like, I'm a pretty efficient guy, and I get through my work really quickly and do a good job. So I would expect to see more than they all did individually. But the fact that I saw more patients than all of them combined, like basically every single day, is a big problem. That should not happen. And if that's the case in your clinic, or the clinic you're interviewing for, don't do it, man. Don't do it. That's a bad idea, because you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck seeing the excess, man. You will deal with the overflow, because ultimately it falls on you. And chances are good that if they're that slow, they're probably not doing a great job. Because they're, like, they probably don't know what to look for. Like, it's taking them that long because they're just kind of, like, going through this list and not excluding things that don't matter, and not focusing in, and by the same token, not focusing in on things that do matter. So your life will be way more difficult in all aspects. So careful. If you don't have good support, you're not gonna have a good time. You're taking their time with each patient for exceptional patient experience. Yeah, I know, right? We had this shit happens all the time, man. They always make such a big deal about whenever patients really like a nurse. Like, they have awards for you know, most patient approved nurse or whatever. I don't even know, like, patient who gets, or nurse who has like the highest patient reviews. And it seems like it's always somebody who sucks. Like, I have yet to see a nurse that I'm like, oh yeah, she's like super good. Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, like, yeah, it's just sort of like a running gag, honestly. It's just like a meme. Like, oh, they got this award? Great. That's good. Like, they almost killed you, but you voted for their award. Okay. Fantastic. Alright. South Korean medical crisis makes it to Wikipedia. Okay. Let's see. New government policies significantly increasing medical student quotas. Oh, so this was a chicken versus egg thing here. I gotcha. So they increased med student quotas and residents and interns resigned. Med school professors work to cover for residents. Oh, oh shit. Okay. That's a big deal. So I know a lot of you guys probably don't have any idea how an actual hospital works, but in academic centers, residents do all the work. Residents do fucking everything. There's like amongst the nurses, they're even literally told at the place where I train, they are literally told not to do anything. Like they don't use any critical thinking. They just call the residents. They're literally instructed to do that. Like if something happens or like they get a lab result or something, they call. They don't say, "Hey, this patient's blood pressure is high. Is it okay if I give them X?" They don't do that. They just page you and say, "Hey, this patient's blood pressure is this." That's it. And they don't say, "Hey, he's got this ordered. Can I just go ahead and give him that?" Yeah, do that. Nope. Or like, "Hey, you know, he had this surgery today and he's acting, you know, his right side's kind of weak now. Like, you know, are we concerned that he had a stroke or anything like that?" There is zero critical thinking. They just literally call the residents for everything. So anyway, residents are basically indentured servants for all intents and purposes. They're underpaid, massively overworked. And to have them leave would instantly cripple any hospital. If the residents struck at a hospital, that hospital could not function at all. And a lot of the physicians, as God intended, yeah. A lot of the physicians at academic centers are, like, they're stuck there. They're not very good and can't work anywhere else. Just because they're not efficient enough. And their skills have atrophied after years of having residents do everything for them. So you're asking a whole bunch of people who are used to doing, you know, basically just like rubber stamping shit that residents do, take the load, and that is gonna work out. It's gonna go over like a lead balloon, man. So I would imagine they're all probably quitting too. So this is force non-urgent, less complicated patients to no longer be treated at tertiary care facilities. Yeah, no shit. Leading to concerns about large university hospitals running into financial trouble. Really? So you eliminate the critically underpaid workforce and finances become a problem? That's so weird. You can't pay somebody worth $300,000 a year $50,000 anymore? Huh. Go figure. Imagine that. During the conversation, am I looking to sit in cases or supervise? I generally, like, I like doing my own cases from time to time. But we've run lean enough that we pretty much always supervise. There's not really an extra doc available to do, I'm an anesthesiologist, by the way. There's not usually an extra doc available to sit a case. That's a very rare circumstance for us. But yeah, we cut people very aggressively, anesthetists and docs, once they can go. Because we try to protect, like, we work really hard, but we want to play hard too. And we, you know, try to protect people's free time as much as we can. You randomly found me on Reddit once since I'm a streamer? Yeah, I am a streamer. Well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. 2 new faces tonight. That's pretty cool. It's good to see for such a small stream. I mean, we've got, like, all the regulars showing up tonight, a couple new people. Good to see you guys. Hope you're enjoying your time here. So yeah, right now we're reading about the, quote, South Korean medical crisis. Which is, seems like this might be really bad. Let's see, there will be a large increase in senior citizens. So this is kind of like their baby boom. Okay. After the Korean War. Fair enough. Increase in medical care demand, blah, blah, blah. Number of doctors per capita has been one of the lowest has been one of the lowest countries in the world. That's a typo. 2.6 per 1,000 people. The US is 2.7. Okay, so US is actually pretty low too, huh? That I did not know. Doctors in South Korea are aging as well, makes the doctor shortage problem more serious. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, right? How all the US doctors just retired when COVID hit because they were like, nah, fuck this. I'm not working harder. I'm getting sick. I'm out. Screw you guys. Primary cause, too much demand and not enough supply. So I don't know in Korea in particular. Is that what you're talking about? So this says it's related to the government increasing med student quotas, like the number of med students. So I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly what's going on here. So I don't know specifically why more med students would make residents and interns quit. It seems like that would be a response to residents and interns quitting, like cranking more med students through. Like more med students would just mean that there's more competition for the residency spots, right? Unless they also increased residency spots, which it doesn't say. So I mean, I could see how that would make med students quit, but I don't know why that would affect residents and interns so much. Oh well, whatever. Here we go. Basic medical system is collapsing with pediatrics, obstetrics gyne, lacking manpower, blah blah blah, cited imbalance. Let's see. South Korea has one of the lowest. Okay, we just read that. Dominant opinion is a political maneuver based on the OECD, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. Got it. Let's see. Shortage of pediatricians and obstetricians is not due to lack of specialists, but rather because they face an environment where it's difficult to work due to the risk of lawsuits and economic losses caused by low medical fees. Okay, so what it sounds like to me is this is a result of, this problem is a result of doctors just being treated like shit, basically. So they're being overworked. This is where we're heading, by the way. So yeah, so they're underpaid, overworked, and the problem's getting worse. So the patients, or the population is aging. There are more people. They already have very few doctors per person, per capita. And so the overworked, underpaid people are going to be more overworked and probably not less underpaid. So that is what I'm hearing. You're about to get seen by a resident for your doctor's appointment. He saw your med student, asked if you wanted to see attending. Is that a perk of being med student? Yeah, absolutely. But as discussed earlier, sometimes seeing the academic attending is not a step up from the resident. I particularly enjoyed when the OB patients, as when I was a resident, when the OB patients would ask for the anesthesia attending to do their epidural. I thought that shit was hilarious. I was like, dude, he's done like 4 epidurals in the last year. I've done 200 in the last month. You know, you tell me which is the better call. And I'd just be like, absolutely. He will be super happy to come up here at 2 in the morning and do your epidural for me. He'll love that. He'll be really, really thrilled. So, yeah. Probably fine. But yeah, absolutely. Like, there are not a lot of perks of going into medicine, because you'll find that people who are like in law or business or finance or, you know, all these other more like, you know, relationshipy sort of ladder climbing sort of jobs are much better connected than we are. Why do they do that? I don't know. They think that, you know, somebody who's in a position of authority is better at what they do, which a lot of time is true, but a lot of time is also not true. Anyway, yeah, so all of these other jobs get, you know, hookups on cars and houses and real estate deals and shit like that, but we get to ask our colleagues, you know, medical questions that you would otherwise have to make an appointment for, and prescribe each other medications, and see the people that you want to see whenever you want to see them, right? So, yeah. Pennsylvania hospital systems are growing like wildfire. Everyone's happy. Overworking is provided. Oh, yeah, absolutely, dude. Anesthesiologists taking on additional roles. EPs. The EP physicians do TEs? Interesting. In the TAVRs. So, we had cardiologists. Was it EP? So I think it was just like an echo tech, actually, that did it. The EP physician was scrubbed in with the cardiothoracic surgeon. And the tech came and did the TE, which is kind of weird. But, and sometimes the anesthesiologist would help with it. Asking anesthesiologist to perform it instead. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at least that's something they can bill for. That sucks, and that's not, that's definitely a work creep kind of thing, but at least it's a billable service. If they're salaried, though, you're just kind of shit out of luck, right? It's just extra. Like you say, it's just extra work. TAVRs are kind of dicey cases, too, man. What were we reading? There we go. So let's see here. Mandatory designation system integrates all doctors and private medical institutions into public health insurance. Okay, so it's government health. Residents worked up to 100-hour weeks. Ouch. Yeah, hospitals. Oh, this is weird. What, does that sound familiar to anybody in the stream at all? Residents work 100-hour weeks and university hospitals depend on their cheap labor. Do them every Tuesday, dicey for sure. Oh, you guys do them under Mac? Yeah, we usually did general. But man, it seems like we had the sickest freaking patients for TAVRs. I mean, I know that's like kind of the idea, right? Is that they're for people who are either like super good shape and don't really want to have, you know, an invasive surgery, or the worst shape possible and aren't candidates for surgery in the first place. But man, it's like all of them were on like dialysis or had in-stage COPD and just had all of these like crazy comorbidities and shit. I don't know. They all did bad. I'd say we crashed on the bypass like once a week and did like a dozen a week. Yeah, it's not a great percentage. Do med students feel some type of way if you say you don't want them in the room during your appointment? Oh, no, I mean, I personally didn't. I didn't give a shit. But I imagine there are some people who would be offended by that, but who gives a crap? It's not their healthcare, it's yours. If you don't want them in the room, kick them out. I mean, that said, at the same time, you have to have some sort of understanding of what your care is going to look like if you go to an academic institution, right? So there are going to be trainees and learners involved. Had issues lately with ablations? And puncturing the ventricles? What? Once a week? Jesus Christ. That's really bad. So, I mean, what I wanted to say was, how bad is the puncture? I mean, obviously puncturing a ventricle is like catastrophic regardless of how big the puncture is, but like are we having to like crash into the CTS room or something? Or wow, cardiology's kicking your ass. I love cardiology. It's very hard. It is very complex, but it's like if you understand cardiac physiology, man, you're good to go. That it affects so much of how the body functions. Rushing these cases and it's clearly not paying off? Yeah, I guess not. If you're making holes in hearts, that's not great. We had this weird thing at where I trained, where the ablation catheter, maybe this is, now that I think about it, maybe this is the problem that you're having, or some similar problem at least. There was the ablation catheter itself wasn't properly insulated. And so they were causing thermal injury, not like, they weren't like ablating the esophagus, but they were actually just like burning through the esophagus to the right atrium. So there we had a lot of atrioesophageal fistulas, and they had to call in every single person because of this catheter. They had to call in every single person who had an ablation to evaluate them for this, and there were like, they found like a dozen of them. There were a ton of people over, I don't know, like I said, it's like 6-7 months, something like that, where they had used this particular catheter, and lots of them had a fistula. And others probably had some sort of esophageal injury from it, but they had that many fistulas, and some of them died. So I wonder if it's something similar, like they've got a poorly insulated ablation catheter or something. When the government broadens the range of health insurance benefits, healthcare facilities tend to offer uninsured services. Okay, so this is just like scope creep on a global scale. Okay, so I feel like I kind of understand what's happening here. It's, you know, what we were talking about earlier. Like, doctors are basically just continually asked to do more and more and more. Residents are already overworked. And then that, let's see, to separate the jobs of physician and pharmacist? Okay. So that throws a wrench in my understanding. The strike was due to the proposed plan of government to strictly separate the job of physicians and pharmacists, which could cause a significant damage to the income of doctors. Okay. Maybe I don't understand how pharmacists and physicians work in Korea then. Huh. Claim the welfare of trainee doctors must be improved first, according to the Korea Intern Resident Association. They work 36-hour shifts, where they work less than 24 hours. About half these doctors would work with no more than 60 hours per week on average. I don't know about that. Well, in South Korea, it's common to exceed more than 100 hours. I mean, it sounds like it's worse there, but yeah. $50,000. I mean, that's not what it is here, right? I guess it's a little bit more here. 100% of thoracic surgery residents work more than 80 hours a week. I'm surprised it's only that low, and I mean, those numbers are the case here. And this number is 100% for neurosurgeons. Are pharmacists paid more in yeah, I don't understand this. I don't get that. Like, I wonder if the physicians are the ones, like, filling the prescriptions? I don't know. I don't know what that means. And they, like, get reimbursed for that or something. Like, they have to sign off on the prescription being filled, like the pharmacists do here? Question mark? I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Governmental policy made the doctors... This is kind of a shittily written wiki. Not very impressed. South Korea physician's assistants are illegal to do basic activities such as suture. Also, tattoo artists are illegal according to law. Okay. What does that have? Whatever. Skincare treatments are only legally allowed to doctors, making general practitioners work in the beauty market without being a training doctor. Servicing public interest and achieving profitability. Well, it's a government healthcare system. They're not supposed to be profitable, right? Alright, I really kind of just feel more confused after reading this article. I think I'm gonna stop. I clearly just, like, don't understand the premise here. So, like, bottom line, though, doctors are leaving. They're not going to be able to replace them. Doctors will be in higher demand because population is aging. government doesn't seem like they're really doing anything about the actual problem. They're just creating more people who can be doctors, but they're not actually like paying people more or lightening their workload or anything like that. They're just like, here's some med students. They'll be doctors eventually, right? Let's just throw them in the grinder, guys. Yeah, that's a very government way of handling things. Exploding McGrath batteries? Oh, yes. I have heard about that, actually. Excuse me. Yeah, I think that's they're very specific type, and we use McGraths, interestingly. So for anybody who doesn't know what a McGrath is, it's well, I'll show you. It's a video laryngoscope that we use for difficult airways. So it gives you like a better view for people who have like gigantic necks or like weird mouth anatomy or something. So this is a video screen, and this thing has like kind of an extra curvature on it and a disposable blade. So this is what we use for difficult airways. And the battery goes in this little pocket right there. And some of the batteries blow up. So that sort of sucks, because it's right under your hand and right on top of a patient's face. So you're gonna blow your freaking hand off and drip battery acid all over a patient's face. Maybe give them some facial injuries in the process. That'd be cool. Super cool. Yeah, ours are not on recall either, so fortunate. Add that to the consent. Battery might explode in your face. You know? It happens. It happens during appendectomies. Or whatever you're having. We'll take your appendix out, but we might also remove your face. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just part of doing business. Nikocado avocado is no longer over 400 pounds, is now below 200? What? How? I mean, did he just, like, stop eating giant loads of food all at once? Because really, if that's what you're doing that maintains your weight, then it's pretty easy to just, you know, not do that. Look for me in the future, please do. I'm trying to be on more often. I used to be on every Wednesday and Sunday, and then I had my second child, and that absolutely went to hell. So, yeah, good to have you. Glad you found me. Have a good night, man. Take it easy. Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing how he made that happen. Seems like an interesting dude. What level am I? 55? Sweet. Rolling. Hook up an HR monitor and have you watch Nikokado's OnlyFans content? Oh my god, does that exist? There is such a thing. I am interested enough that I might just do that as a matter of course. Depends on how much it costs, I guess. I'm not joking. Dude must have a shit ton of excess skin. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Please search for it. Can I search for OnlyFans on Twitch or on YouTube? I don't know, I probably can. As long as I'm not, like, watching anything. Here, I'll do that in just a minute. Let me kill all these dudes who want to kill me first. Don't show it on stream. Why not? What could go wrong? My wife is gonna be seriously concerned. Let's see. Top 0.14% of creators on OnlyFans, huh? Yeah, I have a second monitor. That's where all my chat and OBS stuff is. Subscribe, 15 bucks a month. I love the thumbnail. Brutal. He has 412 videos. More info. Warning, we will sue you if you leak these videos and pics. Our IP attorneys have filed 2 lawsuits this year. The copyright of the material contained on this OnlyFans page is owned by Network Nico Cotto Avocado. Great. That's awesome. Oh man. I mean, clearly he's doing okay if he's top 0.6%. Dear God. The internet really is the worst place ever. It's the worst fucking place. So there was I love OnlyFans. I really like everything about it. I think it's really fascinating. And I think it does a lot to highlight just how many lonely, desperate, very wealthy men there are in this world. I think that one of the coolest things that has come out of OnlyFans is people who, like, society says should not have an OnlyFans, like, really should not have an OnlyFans page, but do. So specifically, I'm thinking of a local teacher who, or actually, so there was a local teacher, but I can't remember if it was this person or not. This might have been a national news thing. Anyway, there was a teacher, whether she was local to Kansas City or not, I do not recall. And long story short is the school found out she had an OnlyFans page and fired her. But in the article, it mentioned that, like, they were interviewing her and she was like, oh yeah, you know, she was like, you know, it's okay. I make like $500,000 a month from my OnlyFans. It's like, well, what the fuck are you teaching for? Why are you a teacher? You make 500 grand a month from your freaking OnlyFans? Why are you there? Go home. It's like 7 years of teaching in 1 month. Don't do that. Just go home and make content, man. They had an interview with the school that, you know, they were like, well, clearly we can't have this sort of, you know, moral derangement on our campus, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so she's leaving you guys behind to make, like, dozens of times more money than you all offered her, so I think she can probably tell you to fuck yourselves. He does a great job of cleaning up leaked content. Interesting. Well, I guess that lawsuit threat is doing its job. Videos are high quality. Him on all fours getting reamed with a well-used hole. Oh my god. Oh my god, why? Why would you say such things? Oh! Ah! My mind's eye, why? It's a good thing I have headphones on, man. My brain would be leaking out my ear right now. That is just horrifying. that is not cool. Prospective med student has an OnlyFans and an X account that's public? Ah. Huh? What percentage of OnlyFans creators are male? I guess it'd be very low. Seen some of his videos, it's grotesque. Oh, good Nico Gato. Oh man, I don't know. You'll DM me, thank you later. Oh god. You know that I'm gonna like be like, oh, I have a DM, and open the link, forgetting about this conversation, and see that at some like atrociously inappropriate time. Because that's how these things work. God. I'm trying to like mentally prepare myself for this inevitable fate that I'm gonna suffer. Where I'm at like some dear friend's funeral with his exceptionally conservative family, and somehow also at a high-level work meeting simultaneously. And meanwhile, my phone is on full volume and connected with an amplifier. Fucking Nikokato's OnlyFans starts blasting through it. Okay, don't want to deal with that. Let's keep on rolling. It's just water weight. Yeah, so he just like lost this massive amount of weight again. Like, did he have bypass? Like, did he have bariatric surgery? I mean, that's what it sounds like. Not safe for work. I would appreciate that very much. Ample warning of the horror. I do enjoy a good horror show. I can't lie. I can't lie. One of my partners and I send each other like super fucked up videos all the time. Like just random crazy shit. He was a skinny vegan before he became obese. Oh, really? I mean, I knew he was like a skinny dude, but I didn't know he's a vegan. I saw those like before and after pictures. I think like a long time ago when we were talking about him. Ow. PME Pain Olympics, oh god. Yeah, I've never watched any of his videos. I don't really have any interest in that at all. Oh, wrong way. Shit. God, this freaking pack of invincible guys is breaking my balls. Breaking all my balls. They are broken. Stop running after me! Oh, and one of them's Soul Eater too, of course. That's cool. Most violent, horrible things you could do to yourself willingly. Amazing. There was a local radio contest for some like rock concert tickets, and it was basically like who would do the most extreme thing to get these tickets. But the catch was you had to do the thing before they would give you the tickets, or before they would choose who got the tickets. So you actually had to like come up with some insane shit to do and do it, but you might not get these tickets. And, dude, people came up with some nuts crap. Like some dude nailed his tongue to a board. There's a guy that ate roadkill. What else? There's a guy that snorted a cow pie. Man, what else? I'm having, those were the ones that I remember standing out. What else? God, what else did they have people do? Oh, another dude snorted hot sauce. He snorted some sort of like really hot sauce. But yeah, people do some insane shit. I've forgotten who won. I mean, they all lost. I think it's clear. Every participant in this contest lost. I don't know. I don't remember what they did with the tickets. I sure hope so. For all of these poor people's sake, who just didn't know any better. Didn't have anything better to do with their time than like do some crazy ass radio stunt for tickets to a concert. You know, it probably like there's probably like some tie-in to Cruel and Unusual Punishment, right? You can't do that to people, like coercion sort of thing. I mean, it's kind of, I feel like you probably take the legal edge off by making, like, a volunteer thing. You know, clearly none of these people were, like, impressed to do these things. They're just like, yeah, I want tickets, I'm gonna do this crazy shit, and... Oh, I didn't get tickets, that sucks, now my tongue is nailed to a board. Whoops. Bummer. That was delicious roadkill, though. Encouraging people to commit self-harm. Yeah, I don't know that it was, like, necessarily going that direction. Like, it wasn't, like, mutilate yourself. It was, like... Yeah, I mean, this is years ago. This is probably, like, literally 20 years ago. So I do not remember the specifics at all. People do get piercings. Yeah, exactly. He just did his own piercing. It's totally cool. Not a problem. Oh yeah, that's what I need to do. Put in my freaking storm shroud. That's sort of the reason that I rushed to that node in the first place. Okay, cool. Alright, well, I probably ought to go to sleep. Yep. I'm not depending on day 4 in a row of toddler sleep, because Lord knows that has not been dependable. So thank you guys for coming out. It's good to be here, man. I really miss doing this on a regular basis, so hopefully y'all had fun. Fucking up the nailing and bashing your teeth out. Oh god, that sounds terrible. Probably use the nail gun. I don't know. That would make sense, but it would also make sense to not nail your tongue to the board. But anyway, you guys have a good night. Thank you again for coming out. That was really cool. It's a good night. I had a good time. Hopefully you did too. So I will, should be back on Sunday. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be. But, yeah. Take it easy, guys. Adios. Hey. Do it. There we go. There we go. Now I'm black.